Hello, this is Mike on the Mr. Train 55 channel. Excuse me. In this second video of my recently completed Woodland Scenics River Pass layout, I thought I would show a bit more of the details of the layout and the scenery and talk a little bit about my approach to the layout. Some of you might find this helpful if you're looking at the possibility of constructing this particular layout. I have named the town Pine Valley, and I'll explain why in a minute. I'll begin on the right side as I face the layout. This first mountain is what I call Roth's Mountain, and it begins the formation of the mountains surrounding the town of Pine Valley. If you look closely, you'll see a local resident trying his hand at rock climbing. The railroad main line runs right through the mountain, as this was the only way to gain access to the river valley. You can also see the highway leading to Pine Valley crosses the mountain. I hand applied the yellow double stripes that indicate the highway no passing lanes. The stripes are 1/64 inch yellow pinstripes made by Linotape. At the top of Roth's Mountain is the town water supply and a billboard with a flashing ready kilowatt from the Pine Valley Power Company. Moving across the mountain range, we cross the Truss Bridge over the river and see the second major mountain range surrounding the valley. This is a very lush mountain and has a beautiful pine forest, and is the reason for the town name of Pine Valley. Here is where the main line exits the mountain. One small problem I had constructing the main line was getting the Warren Truss Bridge level with the track. The problem was the result of placing the track on roadbed, which of course does not run under the bridge. So you need to work a little with the foam you cut into for the bridge placement and check to make sure the bridge is level to the track, or you could have your cars uncoupling at or around the bridge. As far as the scenery on the open part of the main line, I think Pine Valley is overall a very beautiful area. But like any natural setting, it is full of high and low areas, wet areas, dry areas, and I try to reflect these with the use of different ground cover, trees, dry grasses, weeds, bushes, and fallen twigs or branches. Next, I'm moving the camera just a little bit to show the second exit from the mountain range. There's the first, there's the second. This is where the train starts its climb up the mountain, across the bend. It'll just sweep around here, and then comes back across the river and comes around the bend again, sweeping by the town and into the second tunnel entrance. Maybe this is a good time to take a closer look at the town of Pine Valley. It's a small but thriving community. We'll start here on the far end of town, which is on the other side of the river. I used a completely different set of structures for the entire town than was suggested in the River Pass kit. Not because I didn't like the suggested building, but this is the second HO layout I built, so I used many of the buildings already assembled from my first layout. Okay, the structures here are the Red Cedar Lounge, located at the end of the gravel road, and the lumber yard with an office. There is also public access to the river for launching fishing boats. As you can see, the river is wide and gently flowing. The water tumbles at a leisurely pace, so there's not a lot of splashing or fast rushing water over the falls. The water scenes of the layout were the most difficult for me to model. I watched a lot of the Woodland Scenics instructional videos regarding modeling water and found them helpful. As we view the river, you can see it is dark in color. This represents the water depth and the general chemical makeup of the water as it flows out of the mountains. The shore area tends to be a bit lighter in color due to their more shallow nature. One thing I found interesting in the Woodland Scenic constructions was to use black color in the deepest parts of the river. The first thing I thought of when I read this was everything I learned in grade school taught me to color water blue. But if you look at Mother Nature's color of river water, it does tend to be black or silver black. Of course, depending on what part of the country you're trying to model, your water may be more sandy looking or have other characteristics. The river eventually narrows and is forced through two culverts. As it comes out of the culverts, the compression has caused quite a flow increase, which I tried to show with the white water and the large splash areas at the end of the culvert. I really messed up this area the first time I modeled it. Excuse me. The splash area looked like someone had dropped a bucket of white paint. I contacted Woodland Scenics for help, and Beth explained how I could cut out the white splash area with a sharp knife and rebuild it layer by layer with water effects. She recommended using the white tint when I did the final build-up, and I'm very happy with it. As a side note, this is not the only mistake I made in constructing my layout, but as advertised, the Woodland products are very easy to change, modify, or correct mistakes. The river flows into a very lush valley, steep with rocks, and becomes a small stream down the line. Here we can see here it eventually flows out and becomes a small stream down the line. One other river building tip I got from Beth is that Woodland Scenics now recommends using a permanent dam for the river. She said, quote, "I did notice a line in the instructions on page 14 regarding damming up the edge of the realistic water using a piece of masking tape that is removed once the realistic water is dried. We have updated our thinking on this step. The realistic water is a self-leveling product, and we have found that with time the product will travel off the edge somewhat. We now recommend that you permanently adhere a small piece of clear styrene or other plastic material to the edge as a dam," unquote. So I did put on clear styrene and attached it with 3M double stick tape. It looks great as you can't see the dam and there's no leakage. Back to the town itself, looking at the left side of the town, which is Main Street, we see Carol's Jewelry, Rich's Electric, Brian's Bike Shop, a hardware store, and at the end, Gary's Silver Dollar Cafe. Behind the Silver Dollar Cafe is overflow parking for town events and church parking. Next to the church is a beautiful grove of trees, complete with lighting for nighttime events. Following down the right side of town is an appliance store, Parker's Rexall Drug, and of course the town fire department. One thing that was really fun to model was the town village green with the benches and the birch trees. I think it really came out nice. I really like that. Okay. I think that about covers the layout scenery and structures, along with a few tips I could think of. Let me know if this has been helpful, and I'll leave it posted on the channel. If it's not something folks are interested in, I'll delete it. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try and answer them, but admit up front, I'm not an expert. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.